Good morning. You're with us here on a fresh new edition of Bazaar Morning Call. I think that's looking lovely, right? I think India versus South Africa, and here we come. I think it's going to be a busy weekend, guys. Morning, Sonia, Reema, and
busy cricketing weekend. Yeah.
Did you guys watch it? The rain-interrupted match, Reema?
Well, I saw till 10 p.m. and then at 10 p.m., it started raining, and that was my cue to go to sleep, to wake up in the morning.
I think all of us get up too early.
You can't do both, clearly.
You can't do early, but I think it's going to be a big one, and a great win yesterday. Rain interrupted, great performance by the bowlers, and I think as Sonia said, it's going to be a busy cricketing weekend as we begin as we go into this one. So tomorrow, the finals, and T20 is essentially what we'll have. The World Cup, the finals of the World Cup tomorrow. So India versus South Africa, and hopefully, I think when we report back on Monday morning and we start this program on Bazaar, we'll have good news. We'll have a victory on hand. So that's, a short bit about sporting and the cricketing weekend that we had.
That huge VR of Rohit Sharma, right? Larger than life. That's what he's become in this tournament. Unbeatable.
Yeah.
A great run for India so far, led by some exemplary performances and, of course, led by Rohit Sharma. So that larger-than-life image of his that I can see on the screen, I think it's befitting. It's befitting right now.
Appropriately called the hitman now, the way he performed yesterday. But bowlers also contributed. Akshar Patel was the man of the match with 3 wickets. So it was an all-round performance.
It's an all-round performance for the
One more
market
to go
as well,
now.
right?
Yeah.
One more to go.
One more to go now. Let's wait.
We'll get by. Well, let's just quickly run you through, just get back to the market, which is also actually performing very, very well. So, it was not the semi-finals for the market over the last few days, but the market's been performing like the semi-final. It's been the semi-finals, right? Because it's been a fantastic, superb run. You've got the week so far for the Nifty, which is up to, the Nifty is up about 2.4%, and the Nifty Bank, which is up 2% this week so far, and with Friday left to do, right? Now, in a relative sense, and I wanted to make sure I put that up, in a relative sense, not on an absolute basis, mid caps, small caps, and yesterday, especially the SME stocks. Actually, it was a long list of SME losers. Some of these have been big winners, 2x, 3x, 10x in some cases. And yesterday we saw pullback. If we could move the graphics along. So in a relative sense, the broader market took a bit of a backseat. FII positioning is at a bit of an extreme now, and I think this is the number, this is the graphic which says it all. I put this up yesterday as well, but not so in a dramatic fashion, because we were at about 2 lakh contracts. Now, look at this, we are at 3.2 lakh long contracts as of yesterday's close in terms of index futures, and going into the election result, we were net short 3.5 lakh contracts. So, in terms of FII positioning in index futures, we are now at an extreme, and which basically means that you don't have shorts in the system, where if the market falls, you cover, and you kind of that provides a bit of a buffer, and that's why we say that it provides some comfort, downside protection, because you've got people on both sides of the trade. This is a bit one way now, and that's the reason why, at least in the near term, I think you've got to be a little careful. I'll get to sort of levels, etc. in a bit from now. Now, overnight action has been pretty benign. Nasdaq has been up about 0.3%. Dollar index was down. The 10-year lost about 5 basis points. Yields lost about 5 basis points. That's essentially Wall Street. Oil prices have seen a bit of a leg up. We're at about $86.50 per barrel. You got later today the US core PCE data. As we are speaking, by the way, I don't know if it's still on, but it was on the morning and I was watching. The presidential debate between President Biden and ex-President Trump was on. And I think, there'll be a lot of hand-wringing and analysis and what was said. And, they've not gotten to the trade aspects and China and tariffs, etc. So, I think markets, at least in the morning and first half, will digest a lot of that. So I just want to straight away come to the levels in terms of what the setup and how you should approach things. So it looks like we will, before anything else, get to the upper Bollinger Bands. It's a level that we put up at least for the last 3 days, and we've been inching higher and higher towards those levels. That number, as of yesterday's close, now stands at 24,272. That's you should target that logically from here on, given the momentum that we have. But I think at the same time, if you're not already in, and if you're making money, that's great. You trail some of these hourly moving averages as stops and sort of stay long. And to do that, supports are the 20 hourly. We're not looking at daily because they're sort of far away because the index has run away. The 20 hourly is 23,820. that's the nearest, and then the 23,722 level, which is the 40-hourly exponential moving average. Fresh positions, fresh long positions. I mean, I think you've got to be a little careful. You're going into the weekend, etc. as well. But if you're making money and you're sort of already long, I think, you stay long with these trailing stops. Bank Nifty ended lower yesterday. Will it raise questions about whether momentum is flagging? I don't think so, not yet. Supports here for the Nifty Bank come in at the 40-hourly average, which is 52,179. And I think here, that's the trailing stop that you need to use, which is about 1.5% away from where we left off yesterday. Now, two things I just want to add, and Rima will talk more about this. Telecom tariff hikes have started, right? Jio has taken the lead. So stocks have done extremely well. So it'll be interesting whether, there is more here. I think there perhaps is more here. This is, as many have pointed out, the first of many hikes. Not many, but I mean, a phase where you will see tariffs being readjusted higher. So that's one. And the second, of course, is something we've been talking about, which is India bonds. Indian government bonds are going to be part of global benchmark indices. In terms of immediate market impact today, tomorrow, nothing. I mean, I think, a lot of pre-positioning, etc. has happened. But this is, on a medium-term basis, good for the cost of capital to go lower, to head lower for everybody, for government, for corporates, etc., because you got another large block of buyers who were not there so far, which is foreigners. So I think, just want to leave this thought there as well. The GIFT Nifty will indicate what the opening is looking like. It's a 100-point higher start. I mean, it's been a great market. But as I said, if you're not already long, take this Friday to just reflect. And you're very convinced about single stocks, and there's lots of action there. I think that's a better way to do, because the markets run up very, very sharply. If you're already in, trail these stops that we mentioned early on. Sonia.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we were just talking about how India played so well yesterday. I mean, just look at the market, right? Look at the bulls and how well they're playing. The July series has gotten off with a bang, and you have the Nifty crossing so many milestones, 24,000, the Sensex crossing 79,000 for the first time ever. And if you map just the last 1 month, right, I mean, or the series for that matter, the Nifty is now up 5% in the last 1 month. This series, the Nifty is up almost about 7-odd%, and money has been coming in thick and fast. So just look at that. The FIIs have bought 7,650 crores in the cash markets, and we've had a lot of stocks in focus. Of course, today telecom stocks will be in focus through the course of the day. It's that first tariff hike that Reliance Jio has come up with after 2.5 years. It was much anticipated. In fact, in the last few days, if you remember, we pointed it out as well that there's large delivery buying that has picked up in Reliance Industries particularly. So will Reliance assume leadership, and then bang comes the tariff hike. So definitely this is one stock. Brokerages have raised their earnings estimate and target prices on names like Reliance, especially names like Jefferies, that also believe that, stocks like Bharti will move forward now with tariff hike, and they have a buy call there as well. So this is one focus area. For the global markets, it was largely positive, mildly positive actually for the US markets, but there's lots happening there as well. Both in terms of the growth numbers, the GDP data, that has been revised higher. Brent crude prices are now above $86 a barrel, so there's plenty to talk about. But for our own markets, it is momentum that has really picked up. And, every sort of wall of worry has been climbed by this market, continue to sit at new highs. But I guess at some point, some caution has to be exercised, especially in the mid and small cap space. So it wouldn't be such a bad thing to kind of maybe take some profits in, names that are running up a lot. But by and large, this is a healthy looking screen.
Oh, absolutely. The mid-cap index, though it paused this week, in the June series, it's outperformed the benchmark indices. In the June series, the mid-cap index is up 7.8%. The small-cap index is up 10.5%. Right? So, this pause that has come through is after a long period of, big outperformance. And, this is the performance of, the Indian markets this week and June. And compare it with the rest of the global markets, and you would see this week, the Indian markets are stark outperformers. And that's helped us outperform even in the month of June. Barring a Taiwan. Taiwan's the only index which has outperformed India in the month of June. And that's courtesy their exposure to semiconductors. But other than that, India has been a rank outperformer this week. Though year to date, India is up close to about 10.5% on the Nifty, 20% on the mid-cap index. But you have an S&P 500, which is up 15% this week. Nasdaq is nearly inching towards a 20% rally this week. Taiwan, Nikkei. So a lot of global markets have outperformed India on a year-to-date basis. But you know, it's just amazing, right? Just like that, half the year is done.
Yeah.
When we come back on Monday, it's going to be 1st of July. And I'm not too sure whether, you know, these semi-annual rebalances take place in the portfolio, but that's also something that the street is going to be watching.
You know, guys, I just want to mention one thing, that Nike overnight has come out with its slowest sales in the last many years and has revised its guidance lower. The stock actually fell almost, I think, about 10-12% or so. Just goes to show that, you know, the order of the day has perhaps changed, right? I mean, in the last decade or so, so many new shoe brands, athleisure brands have come out and overtaken Nike. At one point in time, Nike was like the market leader, right? So it just goes to show that things are, of course, changing.
You know, there's when you spoke about Nike, Walgreens was down 22%. And that's when they slashed their guidance for the full year. Another stock, H&M. Also down close to about 13% yesterday. So consumer, the retail stocks, you know, it underperformed massively yesterday, and that's because of a downbeat assessment.
Correct.
You know, people are saying that you can't charge more for the same value. You have to add more value. So across the board, not just Nike, but even the other consumer retail stocks were under massive pressure. Walgreens 22%, H&M down 13%.
Well, if only Apple could listen to that, right? They charge more every year for the same product. Okay, but let's move on and start with some market views, actually some money market views this morning. As we kickstart a brand new day of trade, Lakshmanan B of Federal Bank says that this week the dollar INR remained quite stable, trading within a narrow 20 paise range. He says the strengthening of the dollar index, which is hovering around 2-month highs, is weighing on all the currencies, resulting in the yen trading at a 38-year low and the yuan at an 8-month low. However, he adds, this month we've seen robust FPI inflows to the tune of $4 billion in equities and bond markets, which lends support to the rupee, and thus he expects the dollar INR pair to trade in a range of 83.30 to 83.65.
Okay, on bonds, we've got V. Lakshmanan, who says that Indian government bond yields inched marginally higher, tracking the rise in US Treasuries ahead of the inclusion of Indian bonds in the JP Morgan EM debt index. He says MPC minutes continue to signal caution on the inflation trajectory. He adds most members considered a wait-and-watch approach given the headroom from Brazilian growth prospects. Lakshmanan says coming session could see the 10-year trade between 6.9 to 7.05%.
And we have lots of stock-specific action to track today, and we'll get to it in our special Top 10 segment. The stocks we're looking at: Reliance, Bharti Airtel, Vodafone Idea, JSW Infra, HCL Tech, Sami Hotels, Star Health and Wockhardt. These stocks could open up in the green. On the way down, Navkar Corp and Poly